Welcome to Dukascopy TV with me, Alex Izat. As positive data comes out of the US and the FOMC minutes taking centre stage, the question which everyone will be asking is if the Fed is ready to increase the interest rate sooner rather than later. To discuss the US economy is Managing Director and owner of Economic Perspectives, Peter Warburton. Peter, what do you make of the figures that came out yesterday?
I think on the housing indicators, the mortgage applications and the Architects Billing Index, it was a mixed picture. The mortgage applications for this time of year are seasonally weak. So purchase-only applications are running about kind of 9% lower than the spring. But that's not an untypical seasonal movement. So I guess not to get too downbeat about the mortgage applications, but other indicators that we've had, the National Association of Housing Market Index, that's up a couple of points to 55, which is a 7-month high, and also the Billings Index really perked up quite a lot, that's for July. So on a number of counts, the US housing market is looking a little bit more resilient over the last month or so.
The US dollar strengthened after the FOMC minutes were released. Why do you think this is?
Yeah, I think there was a mildly hawkish tone to the minutes that appeared yesterday from the late July meeting. So I think that it is very incremental, but they recognise that inflation is closer to the Fed's long-term objective and that the labour market has tightened a bit faster than they expected. And so they just tweaked the language a little bit, perhaps getting closer to the point at which they talk about the normalization of interest rates being imminent. So we kind of left with an indication that they're going to come to the end, obviously, of the Fed's purchases, probably at the end of October, at that meeting. And pretty quickly then they'll be wanting to guide into what they see as the likely imminence of the first raise in interest rates.
Finally, do you think the American economy is heading for trouble?
Personally, no. I think there's always a short-run story and a long-run story. I think the short-run story is actually of remission of some of the problems and difficulties and headwinds that the economy's seen. It's been a hugely disappointing time. The broad expectation was that this would be a much stronger year for economic growth, and so far we have the opposite. We have only an annualized pace of growth in the first half of the year at 1%, with obviously a good part of the extraordinary winter correction now having been normalized. So I think the potential for the second half of the year to be more like the 3% growth rate has been long expected. I think we are broadly on track for that. Things I would point to would be the bank lending growth is now much more back into the kind of range, both to commercial customers and also in terms of consumer credit, where consumer spending has support and businesses do appear to be on track to do a bit more fixed investment as well. So, if you put the whole picture together, it isn't difficult to get a 3% pace of growth in the second half of the year. If we're looking longer term, then I do agree that the potential growth of the economy, looking another further 2 years out, would certainly be heading well below 2% again. So sort of 1.5% is where I would think that growth would settle in the absence of some really dramatically growth-friendly policies in the interim.
Thank you for your time, Peter. Make sure you keep watching Dukascopy TV for more news on the economy. Goodbye.